Hello, everybody. It's me. Today is September the 10th. It's actually my husband's birthday. And this is my postpartum update. 4 days since the loss of my daughter, Melody Michelle Hines, and I just wanted to give an update on how I'm doing today. Right now, I'm about to take some what is this? Hold on, y'all. What is this? Ibuprofen. Excuse me. I don't mean to move y'all all around. So what's new? Well, today I'm actually leaking. Not leaking, but I have a lot of breast milk that's coming out of me. And this is TMI. So for some of y'all who don't, as you can see, I got this all on my shirt. I've been putting pads on it, and I've been wearing tight bras. A lot of people say that if you if you put what is it? It's some type of vegetable. If you put that on there, that would help. It'll come to my mind in a few minutes. Cabbage. They said cabbage will usually help it out, but I mean, you guys, my breast has really been like aching, and I don't want to show too much, but it's really been bad since the birth of my daughter. It's like they're just leaking like waterfalls, and I've been putting pads on it, tight bras, ice packs, you name it. Um, I know it's temporary. I have been cramping, so right now I'm taking some ibuprofen. I think I'm gonna take two of these things because I've been really cramping. Yesterday I seemed like I was doing okay. One minute I feel like I can do this, and then the next minute I found myself crying. I went to the dentist today, and getting the work done while I was at the dentist, tears just started to roll down my eyes, and because I'm just still emotional. My husband has really been my strength. Um, it's just everything happened so quick. So I was 20 weeks when my daughter had passed away. I went into premature labor. I didn't even know that I was fully dilated. I didn't even know I was having contractions. I thought it was gas. I thought it was something I ate. I thought I could sleep it off. So I will say to anyone out there who is pregnant, if you feel a slight ache, don't take it lightly. Go to the hospital. Don't get your mother's advice, your sister's advice, your friend's advice. And don't get me wrong, they give good advice, but every pregnancy is different. Um, I feel one thing I will say is since I started to do um, my vlogs on losing my daughter, I do feel better because I'm able to get it out. I don't know who would be looking at it or not, but I do feel better because I can actually talk about it. Um, like 4 days before I went to the hospital, I had went to McDonald's and ate a fish sandwich. And after I ate that sandwich, I was driving my husband's truck, and I just felt a lot of pressure on top and a lot of pressure at the bottom. And I felt like I had to go to the bathroom. I had to do a number two. So I ended up stopping at another McDonald's. It just so happened to be a McDonald's. And I had to run in their bathroom. And I don't even like to use public restrooms, but I just had to just get it out of me. And I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it back where I came from, but I ended up going over to my sister's house, and I thought I could maybe try to go to the bathroom there, and it was really hard. I mean, I was getting these pains, and I said, okay, maybe I can lay down. So when I decided to go lay down, I ended up getting back up, and I just threw up all over the place. I called my sister, and I was crying. I mean, I stripped down naked, and I got in the shower, and it felt better after a while. She was telling me to move baby around, baby sitting on something. So I did that. That was the first sign that I needed to go to the I needed to actually go into the doctors Then I remember going to the dentist, and they were doing cleaning or whatever like that. And I remember feeling like, oh, the way she's moving is I'm starting to hurt or whatever. That was the second sign. But again, I'm thinking it's gas. It's just going to go away like it did last time when I had the McDonald's incident. Well, anyway, that morning, um, I just got out of bed, and the pain was so unbearable that I was like, oh no, something's not right. I'm like, these are contractions because they're coming in waves. So I hurried up and went downstairs and told my husband. We called. Um, he didn't really believe that I was really going through whatever, but what I did was we called the vice nurse, and I asked her, do you think I should go to the emergency room? And she said to call my OBGYN. So I called my doctor, and he said, what's going on? I said, I'm having cramps. He said, coming in. He said, coming in. I said, you want me to come in now? He said, yes. On the way in, I was bleeding. I mean, no, on the way into the hospital, we were driving, and I kept checking down to make sure no blood was coming, because I knew if I saw any blood, I'm gonna freak out. This is a bad sign. So while we were driving, everything was okay, and then I felt something come out, and when I put my hands down and I went up, I said, "Oh my God, Matt, it's blood." When we got to the hospital, um, I was crying so hard. I mean, I was crying so hard. They try to get you to the intake person, the person asking for your insurance. I said, ma'am, I am 20 weeks and I'm bleeding. I need to see a doctor right now. So they went ahead and had somebody wheel me over. And at this point, I'm crying because I know for a fact that they can't see my baby's heartbeat. They're not going to find it. They try to put the Doppler up. I couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear a heartbeat. So I'm bawling, I'm crying, They're telling me to calm down, calm down. And I'm crying and I'm crying. And they telling me to calm down. My husband telling me to breathe and all of this other stuff. Finally, they said we found a heartbeat. And they said it's a normal heartbeat. So now I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Everything's fine. That's all they need to tell me. They found a heartbeat. My doctor showed up, and he came in, and immediately he put on his gloves. And while I was laying there, he put his hands in my vagina, and he said, "Oh no!" And I said, "What? What's wrong?" He said, "I'm 10 centimeters. I'm fully dilated, and I have to push her out." And I said, what are you saying? And I said, I'm only 20 weeks. Is she? And I looked at him and I said, is she going to survive? And he said, no. So I started crying so much. They had to wheel me upstairs, and I was bawling, y'all. I was crying so bad. They took me into the delivery room, and there were two nurses there. And I remember being on the table, and I mean, I was crying so bad that my husband was holding my hand. I saw my sister, my little sister, immediately walked in the room, and I told her to call mommy. Even on the way there, I told her to call my mother. And I mean, I was crying so bad. I was just like, I want my mommy. I mean, it was bad. And my husband was holding my hand, telling me it's going to be okay. And I just the whole time I was laying there, I was just praying and asking Jesus to comfort me, calling on God, asking the angels to come. I was praying that they would close I was praying that my uterus would be closed up and that the contractions would stop. The contractions kept coming, and I remember squeezing my husband's hand. I would say that the contractions was not as bad as I thought they were going to be. That a lot of people describe them on the scale 1 through 10. It's a 25. No, it wasn't. The thing that I was really scared about is that I didn't want them to come. I wanted them to stop. So, what ended up happening was I was just praying that my uterus would close up. When the doctor came in, He came in and he checked, and he said it's still open, and the baby was pretty much she was in my birth canal. I had to pee, and I didn't want to pee. One of the nurses was like, they put a little like that little bucket thing under me, and I peed, and she didn't come out, and I just kept calling on God the whole time. I was like, Jesus, Lord, I was just calling on the Lord. I mean, that's all I knew. Um, that's all I knew to do is to call on God. And then what ended up happening was um, the they kept asking me did I want to call the chaplain, and I said yes. Like, I needed a preacher there. I needed to hear the comfort of God. My husband still was holding my hand, rubbing my head, kissing me, telling me everything was going to be okay. My sister was like rubbing my head, telling me everything was going to be okay. I'm bawling. I'm talking about tears is coming out. I'm going through psycho zone or whatever like that you want to call it. So what ended up, I don't know, I'm hoping y'all can hear me. I'm trying not to talk too loud because there's so many people around. Um, the nurse next to me said, you guys sound like you're Christians. Do you want to say the Lord's Prayer? And I said, what? She said, do you want to say the Lord's Prayer? I said, yes. And we, all three of us, because I don't think my sister, we all said it together. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We went through the whole thing. Then right after that, the chaplain came in and he touched me and he prayed, and I felt like I was talking to the chaplain, like, God is good, His mercy endures forever. Um, and it was, I just felt like I was being tested, y'all. Like the devil was trying to make me turn my face and turn my back and blame God for everything, but he wasn't gonna get it. He was not gonna get it. So the chaplain prayed over us, prayed over my daughter, and he didn't even know what was going on. And he said the Lord's praying with us again, and we said it again. And I'm in there bawling. I can feel the contractions coming. I can feel them coming. And the doctor came in and he looked again and he said, "You're gonna have to push because we don't want you to catch an infection." He brought those little leg things out, and I had to put my legs up. And y'all, I did not want to. I did not want to. I didn't want to. I I cried so hard, and I said, "Wait a minute, wait." You know how you just trying to catch your breath, like, hold up, y'all. So I said, wait a minute, wait, this is not right. Wait a minute, wait. Because I know that the minute my child is out of my womb, she was not going to make it. It was like a fish being out of water. You just told me her heartbeat is fine, is regular, and now you're telling me I'm 10 centimeters. Somebody do something to stop my body from doing it. So they put my legs up, and it was like pressure. Not pressure from what I felt, but it was pressure from everybody saying, push, you gotta push. And I said, and I remember screaming like, I was screaming. And it wasn't because of the pain. It was more so a mental thing. It was more so a mental thing. And I remember the lights of the room, the metal part. My I can see my vagina opening, and the doctor, he was more hurtful than anything because he pressed down and grabbed it open, and they said, you gotta push, and I just screamed. I screamed so loud, and I remember looking at the lights to see if I could see her come out. And then they told me to push again, and I closed my eyes and I pushed, and I can feel like a bubble burst of water. And it dawned on me, my water hadn't even broke yet. My baby was still in her little bubble. She was still in her sack. I mean, she was still in here. So what ended up happening was he pulled her out, and my little sister said, "She moving, Mona, she moving, her arm's moving." And I said, "Okay." And I looked over, they wrapped her up and they brought her over to me. I think at that time, you don't even really, you comprehend the situation, but that mother instinct kicks in, you know, that mother instinct of, let me hold my child because she needs me. I held my baby, my husband held her, and while I was holding her, I saw my mother walk in the room, and I felt really comforted to see my mama and my sister, and oh, Jesus. I looked at her, and her mouth was open, like, and her body was so small, but I can see her heart and her breathing, and they had her in a bigger blanket. My mama came over, and my mother held her, and my mother asked to put her in a smaller blanket, something that's more fitting for her. So they put her in a smaller blanket, which was perfect. And my mother held her, and I held her, and I started singing. I started singing, "Yes, Jesus loves me." I started singing about baby. And I was singing to my child before my mother got there. And then later on, when my mother had got there, when she held my baby, she started singing, "Yes, Jesus loves me." And then I joined in, and my little girl held on for almost 3 hours. And her body started to get cold. And as a mother, I took my robe and moved it so I could put her frail, moist body against my body so she could feel the warmth of this. And I started blowing on her. And my sister did the same thing. I love my sister. Because she looks as she still has a heartbeat. So my husband held her and he smiled. He was crying, but he smiled and he held our daughter. I hope everybody can hear me. I hope everybody can hear me. But he held our daughter, and I could tell she was slipping away because her body started to get cold. And I took her and I kissed her. That's Mama's sweet pea. That's my baby. And then they went ahead and they said we can hold her as long as we want. They checked her so many times to see if her heart was still beating, and then I was in shock. I was like in shock. And I held her, and when I knew she was gone, and when they said she was gone, I held her some more, and I knew she was gone, and I said, okay, mommy, go ahead. It's time for them to take her down. Take her body down to the morgue. Um, so my mother had went ahead and I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, but they took the baby to the side and I was looking in shock, and they were undressing her and everything, and I saw them wheel her body out, and my mother followed her granddaughter's body to the morgue and helped place her in her little body bag, and that was it. That was it. After all of this, I would find myself, everything would be okay, and all of a sudden I'll jump because I'll have these memories or whatever. My husband told me to think about the good parts about her instead of the bad parts. So instead of the rushing to the hospital, think more so about the times when you held her, the times when he held her, and capture those memories. And so that's what I'm doing to help me cope with it. And I hope if you're going through the same situation, cope with the good memories instead of the bad memories. Um, you know, after that, in the hospital, just drugged up or whatever you want to call it. Um, and now in the hospital, they give you these little smiley faces to ask you, how do you feel, from a smiley face to a sad face. I said the pain is not bad, but how do I mentally feel? I feel horrible. The staff was excellent as far as the nurses. They were very compassionate. There was a girl by the name of Nikki, and she had went through losing her child. She had came and checked on me when I was in the hospital. It had to be like um, 3 o'clock the next morning, and I was crying, and she held my hand and patted my back and told me things were going to get better. She lost her son when she was full term and went on to have healthy children. She said, you're never going to forget that. That is never going to stop hurting you. It will get better in time. Um, so that's where I stand right now. Hopefully you guys can hear me. That's where I stand right now. I want to tell my story about my little girl because I know her being born and her death was not in vain. And I really say that this is helping me out. I know in the future we're going to try again. The doctor told us to wait for 6 months. I'm not going to wait for 6 months. I'm just not. I mean, I'll wait for maybe 2 months, 3 months tops, but we're not going to wait. I want to have children, and I'm not going to let anything scare me or deter me away from that. We did ask before leaving the hospital, ask the doctor questions, what happened, what went wrong, and bottom line, he was like, had he had known that I was having contractions early on, they would have put a surcharge on me. But because he didn't know, and because I didn't know, it was nobody's fault. But bottom line, my daughter was perfectly healthy. I just didn't know that I was having premature labor. I asked him because I had a miscarriage before that. It was in November. Whether or not I was high risk, he told me no because the miscarriage that I had in November, we went for a 10-week sonogram, but that baby didn't make it past 6 weeks, so it didn't even have a heartbeat. It probably didn't form. And from my understanding, like 30% of pregnancies end up in a miscarriage. So he can't even categorize that as me being high risk. But he did say moving forward that when I do get pregnant again, after 15 weeks, he will put a cerclage on me. One thing that I have learned in this particular pregnancy is that life is way more important than the bills that you're dealing with, than the jobs, than people giving you headaches. And so I know next time I'm going to really enjoy my pregnancy. I enjoyed this pregnancy with my daughter. Every week I would keep looking in the mirror and say, okay, I'm 15 weeks, I'm 16, I'm 17, I'm almost there, I'm 20, I'm halfway there. And I would keep looking at my stomach. And when I started to feel little knots and kicks and everything, I got so excited. I'm a summer person. Not even really a spring, but a summer person. I don't like the fall, and I can't really stand the winter. I like the holidays that come with it, but I don't like those things. However, because my daughter was due January the 21st, I was really excited to be a mother, and I was so forward looking for a white Christmas and things of that nature. Um, I miss her because I felt like I bonded with her, calling her by her name. My husband named her Melody, because me and him, we were into music, so we wanted our child's name to be Melody. And the day of her birth, because he didn't know what her middle name would be, but I said, babe, what's her middle name? And he said, Michelle. Um, but I would say, Melody, what are you doing down here, girl? You hungry? We hungry? And it makes me feel better to remember those memories. So, ladies and fellas, mothers and fathers, I hope it will make you feel good to just remember the good memories. Um, you're going to go through it, though. You're going to go through it. Um, they usually say that, the doctor tell you to wait after 2 cycles to start, or 3 cycles. Some say 6 months, some say longer. And a lot of that has to deal with the mental healing of it. We are going to start as soon as we feel like starting. And, it's going to be okay. Right now, I'm still lactating like crazy. Um, my shirt is just drenched. Look at that. That's all milk. Look at that. I'm about to change it. I know y'all like, okay, that's gross. Well, it's natural. It's not gross, but it need to come out. I found myself like crying. I'll be sitting on the toilet and I'm crying while my breast is like the Niagara Falls, just gushing out milk. And I'm like, she left her milk jugs behind. Um, but this is my postpartum update. Um, my 20 week, my little girl, I lost her September the 6th, 2013. I know I'm going to get through it. I pray that all of you ladies get through it too. Keep your head up. Get yourself a diary. Talk to somebody. Don't ball it in, because if you ball it in, you're gonna be somewhere and you're just gonna spaz out. You're gonna start screaming because you got a lot of hormones that's going through your body, and it's natural to grieve over your child. I'm going to make sure that I have every tear out of my body before I, go on to the next stage. I know I could never forget about this experience. I would never forget about my daughter. But I will say that every day has began like a new day, a new beginning, and it's getting better. So, may God bless all you mothers to be out there. I pray for everybody pregnancy to be successful. 40 weeks to have a living baby, okay? A baby in your hands. I told my husband when we have our child, I don't care if he or she cries all night long. I am going to be ready and able and the best mother in the whole universe. I think with this one, it's really a eye opener what's important in life. So God bless, and I'm gonna continue on sending my updates on getting past this, and then later on I'm gonna start to do my TTC, trying to conceive, blogs, hopefully vlogs. Hopefully we're not gonna go through what we went through, waiting to get that positive or whatever like that. But I am gonna do my journey, and I commend all you women out here who put and who were very brave enough to put what's going on with y'all, because if it wasn't for a couple of y'all that I've seen on YouTube, I don't think I would ever be able to speak about this. And I hope I'll be able to be a blessing to you or to someone else who's going through the experience that I went through. God bless. Bye.